Welcome. You're listening to the I'm Wired to Inspire podcast, creatively engineered by Nicole, the inspiration specialist. I'm Wired to Inspire is a powerfully packed podcast filled with inspiration and encouragement to get you through your day. It's designed to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. Now, stay tuned for your host, Nicole, the inspiration specialist, on today's episode of I'm Wired to Inspire.
Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today on my podcast. I am just, again, so happy and blessed to be here with you guys. I wanted to tell you guys too, if you have any topics or anything you want me to talk about, please hit me up. I am more than happy to read your suggestions. You can hit me up on my IG. I do polls in my IG stories. But if you have any suggestions, definitely email me at info@imwiredtoinspire.com. And I will surely get back to you. Today, I want to talk about an interesting topic. Someone hit me up and suggested that I do an episode on this. And it is the topic of how do you know when you're in a new season? Okay? How do you know when you're in a new season? So I decided to do that one today. And I want to just give you 4 things that God had given me concerning knowing how and when the season in your life changes. Okay. So again, this is just my thing. It's not gospel, but this is what I think is a very, it's very true for me. And I find that when we tap into how God moves in our lives uniquely, we can learn so much more than we realize. We have so much information and in our senses in terms of our spirit and just being in tune with the Holy Spirit. Really learning to trust yourself. A lot of times, y'all, it's just in your inner man. God has already placed that thing in your gut, in your discernment, in your wisdom. You really just kind of know these things, but sometimes we move around so much we're not paying attention. So I came up with this acronym, and this is the acronym that when this acronym is actually working in place for me, I know that the season is changing. And the acronym is C.O.R.E. C.O.R.E. Those are the 4 things. So the first letter is C, change. Okay, so if you have not heard this before, there's a very popular saying that change is the only constant in life, and it is very true. You will find that when God is causing a change in your life, it is very, very much akin to seasons changing. It's not really different. It's just that seasons are outside and we can't control them. But, you know, the seasons that come that have to do with us is different because we're human beings and we're people, and we have to kind of figure things out and decipher our way through these situations. So the seasons often reflect what we could be going through as well. So let's talk about that for a second. So change, right? Yo, you know, when we know it's about to be like, you know, it's summertime now, but in a couple of weeks, maybe we're going to be going into fall. Well, what happens? Everything just slowly starts to change around us. You know, we've been walking outside every day with just a tank top on and some shorts and some flip flops. And then all of a sudden you may go out one night and it's like, wait, I kind of felt a little chill tonight. It was a little cooler tonight. And so your environment starts to change, right? You know, you're looking at certain bugs not flying around anymore. And then you see the trees are starting to change color. And, you know, just the wind is blowing. And, you know, just different things are happening that were not happening in the summer. Because now you are experiencing that change. Well, it's no different than us. When we are embarking on a new season, things are going to start to change. And the first thing that usually changes is our comfort level. So, to be honest, the C in change can also be congruent with comfort. Okay, that could also be the C as well, because with change, a lot of times your being comfortable is going to be in question. Because if you change and it's abrupt and you didn't see it coming, you can instantly become uncomfortable. From another perspective, if you change and you were aware that the change was coming, the thought of it can still be uncomfortable even if you have time to prepare for it. So the beginning of a season changing in your life will have a lot to do with your comfort level and just general change. You may be used to going to a certain place, and your opinion of that place or that situation may be changing. Start paying attention to yourself. What is changing about you? The cool thing about God putting us in a new season is that he's going to take care of everything. So if it requires that you start to get frustrated about something because something is just not like it used to be, right? It literally could be God saying, okay, listen, I'm trying to get you out of this. I'm gently trying to move you onto this. So just pay attention to the things that are changing. And I'll tell you something else about change and comfort. Sometimes your relationships may, become ablaze. Something may blow up in your relationship. Something, the tone and the what's the word I want to say? The climate of some of your relationships may change. That is also a sign that your season could be changing, because you'll hear a lot of times when people are giving prophetic words, even when we are reading in the Bible, you see so many people go through many different things. But if they don't change their relationships with certain people, their lives are not going to measure up and line up to where God is taking them in the next season. So oftentimes that will be something to, really ignite that. Now, that's actually R in it, the relationship part, but I'm going to get to that. But it's also connected to this first one as well. Well, the second one is O, and you're probably going to be like, okay, this girl is silly, but it's obvious. I mean, that is the word, obvious, because what will happen sometimes is, y'all, it's obvious that God is changing things in your life. You're not feeling the same, and things are just becoming different. I think sometimes, y'all, we over spiritualize things, and sometimes things are just obvious. A person's behavior may change. The job may change. It's just super obvious. It's not physics. It's just not physics. And then for those of you who are saying, okay, well, Robin, what if it's not obvious and I literally didn't see it coming? Well, here's the thing. This is why I keep going back to being in tune with God and spending time with him alone. Just turn off the radio. Just don't call the person back yet. Just wait. Just say, no, I decline. I don't want to hang right now. And you go and chill with God. Y'all, another reason why obvious is the word is because when you are linked up with God, he will make it obvious. It will be a straight up confirmation that things are different, because he's going to tell you directly. It's not going to be something out of a fortune cookie. It's not going to be something somebody has to tell you and spell out. The Lord is going to do it because that's your right hand man. You dig? Like, you don't even have to go searching for someone else, because he's making it plain to you. He's making it plain. Again, let's not over spiritualize everything. Sometimes the Lord will make that change and that season, your comfort level changing, so obvious. Okay? He will make it so obvious. And then that takes us to the third one. Relationship. Like I mentioned earlier, some of your relationships may change. And more importantly, how you relate to people may change. It may not be other people. Other people may be doing what they've been doing all along, but you are beginning to relate to them different. And you may not know why. That could be God tapping you on your shoulder saying, okay, son, okay, daughter, I'm changing this season for you. They're not doing anything wrong, but I'm changing you because I got to get you on to something else. And I can give you a confirmation on that for myself. The Lord had been telling me in 2018 that there were some people who were close to me that I cared about. I talked to them. They weren't inner circle, but close enough, but he told me, he was like, yeah, they got to go. And I was like, nah, Lord, ain't nobody doing nothing. So of course you looking for somebody to do something shady. You got your eyes open, like, okay, Lord, let me make sure I catch him. And then you end up discovering that, something will happen. And then it happened. It was so crazy, y'all. Oh my God. Like, something happened. And right then I was like, boom, that's it. I didn't even see it coming, meaning I didn't know it was them, but I was mentally prepared that some people were going to leave. Like I said, y'all, God is so good. I had already known that. I just didn't know how it was going to happen. And to be honest, it was quite laughable because it was not even the people I thought, and it wasn't even the way that I thought. That's what's so funny about God. He'll give you these little warnings and he'll tell you these little things, but you can completely miss it because you're still trying to control it and you're still trying to take over, right? So I bowed down to that. I had to humble myself because I just laughed. I was like, girl, this is too funny. This is silly, girl. Like, this is not even what you thought it was going to be, but it is absolutely specifically what God said. Isn't that amazing how he does that? It's exactly what he said, but he did it his own way. He did it a completely different way. You know what I mean? So that was a confirmation for me that, okay, I'm in a new season. And right then I remember calling my mentor the next day and I said, listen, I'm in a new season. God fulfilled his word for that last season. He said these people were going to leave. And I knew I can't do certain things with them anymore. I have to shut it down. And they may or may not notice, but I'm not mad. I'm not angry. And this is the part that I didn't like about God sharing this with me. And I know this is going to help somebody listening. These are good people. Nobody really did me anything wrong, but some things happened and God let me know you cannot take people with that type of mindset with you in your next season. They don't get it. They don't get it. They will become a hindrance to you and you will resent them. So it's all good. It's all love, but there's certain things they cannot have access to you like that any longer, Robin. You can't do it. You can't do it. Because what you're going to find is if you ignore me, you're going to find ultimately they will not have your best interest for where I'm trying to take you. And then you'll have real beef with them. You don't have any beef with them now. So I hope that blessed somebody. But keep that in mind. Your relationships are going to be a sign of the season changing. And the last one, which is something you may be sleeping on, but it's the letter E, and it's expectancy. Sometimes, and I know for me, well, I'm not going to say sometimes, just about every time a season changes for me, it may not necessarily be in the beginning, the middle, or the end. It may just pop up at whatever place it pops up at. But I begin to expect that something is going to change. At this point, I begin to have questions. I begin to, say, okay, God, I'm expecting you to do something because what was happening before, something in me is not right. Or I went to this thing today and such had a crazy attitude. I didn't see it coming. Now I'm starting to contemplate and question things. Are things going to change? Like what's going on? So many things can trigger it. But then there's this underlying expectancy. Even if something happens and you're just curious and you say, God, what is it? That's usually God saying from the onset, hey, listen. Things are about to change. I'm making it obvious for your daughter. I'm making it obvious for your son. The relationship is shifting. Begin to expect me to do a new thing. So you see how it all correlates and it goes together. So that's how for me, there are multiple ways that we will know a season will change. But for me, it's the core. When I see those 4 things in order, those core things, that's when I know the season is changing for me. So let's talk about them again. That's what? That's comfort and change. Those we had 2 congruent topics for that one. The second one was that it's just obvious. God will just begin to make it obvious. The third is relationships. Some of your relationships will begin to change. The people may begin to change. But more importantly, you may begin to change. You may begin to relate to people in a different way and you don't really know why it's happening. And the last part is expectancy. Y'all, it's just like when the seasons change in the earth and we go from spring to summer to fall to winter. We expect that we have to change our wardrobes. We expect that the temperature is going to be different. We expect to plan parties and events that fit the weather because we are expecting it to come. It's the same way when we think about the seasons changing in our lives. So just keep this in mind before we go. If you are ever wondering if the season is changing for you, ask God to show you at your core what's going on, and he will be sure to make it plain to you. I'm wired to inspire. I hope you are too.
Thanks for listening to I'm Wired to Inspire podcast at I'mWiredToInspire.com. If you enjoyed the show, spread the word and be sure to hit the 5-star rating on iTunes. For more information on this podcast and inspirational products and services, log on to I'mWiredToInspire.com. And remember to live your authentic purpose. Thanks again and see you next time.